So I've made a number of changes to my business in the last month or two, and I anticipate making quite a few more in the coming months. But I wanted to talk about what I'm thinking with these changes and what I think should happen if all goes well when these changes are fully implemented. For those of you who are new to the channel, for some context, I bought a carpet and steam cleaning business back in January of this year, so I've been running it for about 8 months now, and we've had our ups and downs and a number of pretty significant downs, I will say, especially in recent months. That's definitely been a motivating factor for some of the changes that we've made. But just in the last few weeks, we've hired 3 new people, meaning our team is up to 8, so we're seeing some massive growth in headcount, and whether that headcount will be justified will be shown very soon. Now, to make things a little bit easier to follow, here is what our current team structure looks like. We have our general manager, so we'll do GM at the top for general manager. He oversees the operations for the entire company. You can kind of call him the CEO. I'm the sole owner of the business, and then he is the main operator of the day-to-day operations, although I'm definitely involved depending on what's going on in a given week. And you could say we have 3 sort of departments that the general manager oversees. Number 1 would be technicians. So I guess we would call that the product side of things because we are a steam cleaning operation, and the people who actually serve our product or do the service are the technicians. So right now we currently have 2 technicians. So from here, we don't actually have like a lead technician yet. So it just splits off immediately into the 2 techs. So we have a tech here and then a tech there. And we anticipate adding a 3rd tech in the very near future, but it'll kind of depend on how things are going elsewhere. And eventually we'd probably have a senior technician or sort of a technician manager as well when the team gets big enough. We're not there yet, so the GM currently operates sort of like the lead technician, although he's not actually going out on very many jobs, really only the biggest jobs where an extra hand might be really, really helpful. But then the other department, if you want to call it that, would be our administrative department. So this would be our administrative assistant. It's just one person, so it's hardly a department at this point, but our admin is very important when it comes to the operations of the business and making sure that technicians have their schedules in line, that we're doing customer follow-up and getting feedback, that we're making sure we're getting our reviews on Google. And our admin does do a little bit of selling as well when it comes to upselling other products that a person might be interested in, or calling former customers who maybe haven't used us in a number of months or even a number of years and seeing if they might be interested. So there's a little bit of sales in there, but overall it's really more about day-to-day operations and making sure that things are running smoothly. And our admin has been super helpful when it comes to that. And our admin is a relatively new hire just in the past couple of months, and so far it's been great, so we're really happy about that. And for some added context, when I bought the business, it was just 2 technicians, no one else. The first hire I actually made was the general manager, and we have some kind of outsourced systems and outsourced providers when it comes to administration. Probably should actually include that here. I'll do a plus third party for people helping us with payroll, bookkeeping, a little bit of call center sort of things as well. So if someone calls in during off hours where our admin isn't in, they'll pick up the phone because that is a big role that our admin plays during the day. So I'll put third party right here, third parties. They're not technically employees, they're contractors, and their roles vary widely, but they are very necessary for keeping our operations going, or at least keeping things smooth. So that's kind of built into this. And eventually we'd probably try to use less and less of those and bring more of that in-house. But given our current scale, we'll kind of leave it at this for now. But as I was saying, we started with 2 technicians, and then my first hire was the GM. And then just in recent months, we hired an admin. And in recent weeks, this is where we get into those new hires, and that would be the sales department. And this is becoming a much more of a proper department. So at the top of the sales department, we actually have a sales manager, and this was one of our more recent hires. And our sales manager's main goal is to oversee the sales department and to grow it. So this person is actually doing hiring, or is very actively involved in the hiring for more salespeople. And at the moment, our sales manager has 3 salespeople in the department that he is overseeing. So we'll just say rep, and rep. So there are 3 sales reps, and we anticipate having more, at least getting more hours out of our current reps, or simply hiring more reps. We anticipate having probably a handful in the next couple of months. So going from 3 to 5 or 6 in the next month or two is kind of the goal. And at that point, we should be in a position to where all of the overhead and the cost of having extra admin help and having to pay the sales manager and all the sales reps should be worth it once we get to that kind of scale. But at that point, we're going to need more technicians, because if we have 5 or 6 sales reps and they're closing 1 or 2 jobs a day at the very least, then we're going to probably need quite a bit more help on the actual fulfillment side. And that's kind of what we're looking at now. We're anticipating needing another technician pretty soon. And that's something that the general manager is working towards and keeping a very close eye on. We're constantly looking for new talent because we anticipate being in a bigger spot in the very near future. Now, these sales reps are actually all overseas. We're using a couple agencies and headhunting services to try and find more overseas or international talent, because simply put, you can get really good talent for the money. And if we can get a much bigger spread on the amount we're spending for talent versus the amount we're getting out in sales or additional sales, then that is a great thing. So we really want to pay attention to that as we build out this team, making sure that people are remaining productive and that our costs aren't exploding. Because right now, costs are definitely on the rise because we're hiring a lot of people, and people cost money. But talent is what drives the business forward. And if we're trying to get to a much bigger spot, if we're trying to get to $1 or $2 million a year in sales rather than just a couple or a few $100,000 per year in sales, then we're going to need more people to do that. So that starts, though, with getting the demand to do it. We have a good product. We get really great reviews. Our administrative assistant has been super helpful with making sure that we're collecting those reviews and that we're not letting satisfied customers go without at least thinking about leaving us a review. So that's been really great for pumping those numbers up. But it's a matter of getting the word out there, and that's why we're focusing so heavily on sales right now. That has been our number one focus for the past certainly month, and going to be the number one focus for the next couple of months, I would anticipate. So we're really trying to push down on that lever to make sure we can get a bunch of leads coming in. If all these reps are calling hundreds of people per day and trying to get more people into our customer pipeline, that should bode well in the long term. If we're able to have, say, 5 or 6 reps and we're getting 500 calls a day outbound and 1% of those convert, that would equate to around 5 deals that we're closing per day. And that would be a really great thing for the business, because right now we're probably doing 3, sometimes 4 deals per day or services per day. And if we can basically double that or more than double that, that's going to bode very well for the business and will allow us to hire more technicians and keep the whole thing moving in a positive direction. But in the meantime, we're kind of in this limbo because we're going to be losing money probably for the next couple of months, just because we have so much more overhead now as we make this bet on the sales team and on bringing in more business that way. It's going to be expensive while we get things up and running. Ideally not too expensive, because we're utilizing a lot of international talent, which we can get for what we think is a better deal, but we'll see how it turns out in the long run. I've been pretty happy with how things have been going with the hiring effort, but of course, a lot remains to be seen, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll be keeping a close eye on things and trying to get as much feedback as we can, trying to collect as much information and knowledge and experience as we can, so that when we go to hire more people, we'll be in a better spot. Or if customers are upset with something, then we can fix that. Or if they're really happy about something, then we can double down on that. Speaking of which, one thing we've actually just started to offer, or we're testing out right now, is a duct cleaning offering. So in addition to carpet and steam cleaning offerings, we're now offering a duct cleaning service, which is a very common add-on or a very common paired service in the steam cleaning space, at least in our market. And we were able to book a couple of test jobs for our duct cleaning service so we can try and get some customer feedback. We're able to do that pretty quickly because what we did is we reached out to some of the people who have previously left us a 5-star review, and we tell them, hey, we're actually going to be launching a duct cleaning service pretty soon, and we wanted to see if you'd be interested. In exchange for a 50% discount on the service, would you please give us some feedback on how the service goes and leave us a positive review if you think it's warranted. That one is almost straight out of the Hormozi playbook, so thank you for that. But that way, we're starting in friendly territory. People have given us great reviews before, so they trust us, and then they're getting a discount on the service, and so long as it is decent, we should get a nice review out of it as well. But we're really just trying to get some feedback on the service and also see if we're missing anything, because if there's some tool that we need that we don't know about, it'd be very awkward to do that after we start marketing it very heavily. So for now, we're just doing a few test cases this week and next, and if those go well, then we'll be able to start marketing this more aggressively and actually try and make it a main service in the business. So we're really excited for that. I think we're in a good spot for it, but we'll see how these test cases go. It should be a great way to boost up average ticket sizes and also be able to get some more business that we might have not been able to get before. There's a lot of work to be done, as there always is in the business world, so we'll just have to see how it goes, and I will be sure to let you know how it goes here on the channel. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you as always, and I'll see you in the next one.